I first walked in and I seen the box where the lights went off in a minute. I hope they're not going to have us singing karaoke. So,
That's the second question.
well, people don't know me. My name's Jason Kraft. I'm born and raised here in Hickman County. Grew up in Wiles. My mom and dad were Kenneth and Betty Kraft. I have an older brother, Steve Kraft, married to Teresa Kraft, or Teresa Worley Kraft. I'm married to Brandy Kraft, and they have 3 wonderful kids. I started my law enforcement career in Centerville from 01 to 2006. 2006, I left there with the Williamson County, where I've been there ever since, and still there today. During that time, so I went through the ranks of starting off as a deputy, and right now I hold the position of captain of special operations. I went back to school and received my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. During my time here in Williamson County, I've been in administration in the jail. We're pretty much a little bit bigger department there. We're about 350 employees. Our jail holds about 355 inmates, and I was part of the administration for it. Hold the rank of staff sergeant in there, which I've done background investigations, internal affairs investigations, anything criminal that happened inside the jail. Kind of fell on what I've done as part of my job. Another thing I've done was I supervised the litter crew, which I think is very important and what we're going to be doing down here. And let's see, that's where I'm at today.
Are you ready for question number 1? You done introduced yourself?
Absolutely.
All right. So my question number 1 is going to be, Jason, nearly every sheriff election, there is one topic of discussion that arises above all others. That issue of drugs and drug-related crimes. If elected, what are your ideas or plans to combat the drug problem in Hickman County?
You know, anytime you speak to anyone, this is one of the biggest topics that come up. I can tell you that the drug problem that we have is very important to me because I have seen how it affects my family. I have some cousins that are in my family that have destroyed their life right now with drugs. And I wish I could sit here and say that they have straightened up and are doing better now, but they're not. So that is one thing that's always been very dear to me, is like I said, our drug problem. And one thing about I can tell you is, whether it's me or any of the other candidates up here that's going to be running, is they're all good people. Now, we may have a little bit different direction on how we want to handle something, but the grand scheme of things is we want to make our community better. The drug problem, it did not come here overnight, and it's not going to be fixed overnight. It's going to take a long time for that to happen. You know, there's so many different levels of that. Whether it's starting off, you know, would he be doing more stuff with our kids in school? Would he be teaching, you know, probably several people in here had Harold Show. Y'all remember Harold Show, teaching dare in school? Awesome. That was one of the best things that in school was whenever Harold Show come and spoke to us. We need to do more stuff with our kids and teach them about drugs and what the problems are. When we get past that, I said we need to get up to the people that are addicted to drugs and what can we do to help them get off drugs. You know, during the time when I was working in the jail, is I seen the programs that we started that help the people. One, you want to get them where they're not, you know, give them the treatment and help they need, but also what can we do to help them even a little bit further. You know, we started a GED program, so people that's in jail, we was able to help get their GEDs. One thing we learned is over just a matter of time was a lot of people that was in jail that we were dealing with had no clue, how to take care of themselves. They've never had to do that. So we started doing life skills for inmates in the jail. So we was teaching them, you know, believe it or not, how to load a washing machine or how to wash your clothes. There's a lot of people, like I said, they've never done that. They get up in jail, and like I said, we were trying to help them better themselves, so when they did come out, they knew how to do more things. Like I said, with, right now the judicial districts are splitting. I think it's a great time. You know, the department has to have a good working relationship with the judge, the district attorney. What can we do to, you know, get the people help, or the people selling drugs, we need to put them in jail, and do something like that.
You're right. This is kind of a tough question for me, but this is one of the questions that I really thought I should ask, because y'all are the voters also, I'm a voter. So Jason, what makes you more qualified to be sheriff of Hickman County than the other candidates?
Well, that is a very hard question, because, you know, I look at this as I'm applying for a job as the citizens being my employers. I can tell you what experience I have, what I've done, you know, administration in the jail. I think if you pretty much talk to, you know, 98% of the sheriffs in Tennessee, one of their biggest headaches they deal with is the jail. The jail, the amount of liability that's in there, that's a big, it's a pain. So there's a lot of stuff, you know, I do have the administration side of helping with that. Like I said, right now my current job is I deal with budgets. I deal with supervising. Like I said, part of my job is fleet management. You know, I have several budgets that are, you know, over $1 million that I have to deal with aviation, with buying new vehicles, selling new vehicles, dealing with vendors, setting vendors up, you know, dealing with line items in the budget. Like, so people who work for the county and know it is a pain sometimes if, you know, if you have money in one line item, trying to get it transferred to another line item. It's can be a problem at times. But having a good working relationship with the county commission, you know, they help you with that. You tell them what's going on, what you need, and most of them they'll work with you. So there's a lot of stuff that I think in my experience over the close to 21 years now of being in administration and what, you know, entails in that. Like I said, I may have a little bit more experience. Like I said, you know, I'm applying for a job. The other candidates are fantastic. I can tell you, I've known most of them for many years, and I feel that, you know, either one of them will do a great job. These are just a few things that I may add that may be a little bit different to the table than what they have.
Hey, there again, you guys, if you're not registered to vote, you're old enough to vote, go get registered to vote so you can make your own decision. Don't let Bucksnort Fire make the decision for you. That's why I did this. We're gonna do it again in July. I'm gonna try to get everybody together again in July, because I know these guys need to be recognized. So everybody tell Jason thank you, and let's send number 2 in here. Thanks, sir. Our number 2 candidate should be walking in the door. I'm thinking it's Barry, but I don't want to overspeak my boundaries. I gotta see the number 2 candidate first. So I didn't ask them, but when you hit 50, it's all downhill from 50, right? I don't know how many people in here at 50. You know, you get to the top of the mountain when you hit 50. From 50, they say it's all downhill. I don't know how true it is, but it's all downhill after 50. You're climbing that mountain until you get to 50, and then 50, it's all downhill. See, I was right. It is Barry Cayce. So, everybody, this is Barry Cayce. He's another candidate for Hickman County Sheriff. My first question to you, Barry, is not really a question. Is these people out here don't know you. They're the ones voting for you. One that's trying to win their vote. So you need to let them know who you are.
My name is Barry Cayce. I was born and raised in Columbia. Graduated high school in Columbia. Moved to Hickman County in 1988. I've been in Hickman County for 34 years. Growing up, I spent most of my time on Wolf Creek, and my great uncles at Wayne Mathis, if any of y'all know him. Some of the best times I ever had growing up were down there at Wolf Creek. I have a bachelor's degree from MTSU I've been in law enforcement for 21 and a half years. And the reason I'm running for sheriff is so hopefully we can make a real change in the county and start fighting the drug problem. So. And I apologize if I don't throw in a lot of fluff. I just believe in saying what's on my mind and getting it out there as quick as I can. So, which is going to have him running back and forth probably pretty quick.
All right, my first question, Barry, is just so y'all know, all the same questions are getting answered to each individual. I mean, we're not asking any different questions. So, Barry, nearly every sheriff's election, there is one topic of discussion that arises above all others. That issue is drugs and drug-related crimes. If elected, what are your ideas or plans to combat the drug problem in Hickman County?
Well, yeah, the drug problem is the biggest issue, I think, between all the candidates and between the people of the county. If elected, I plan on going after drug dealers nonstop. They're no better than a pedophile. I mean, they prey on the weak, the vulnerable, and if they can get somebody hooked on drugs, then they're making their money. The best way I see to deal with the drug dealers is you have to develop the probable cause early and as quick as you can if it's there. I'm not saying make up anything that's not there, but if it's there, we got to act quick and we got to move quick. You take the drug dealer's money away from him, you take his business away from him, then he's going to up and move. He may move to a different area in the county and you'll have to follow him, until you can do something with him. Hopefully, he gets in the court system, he goes to jail, he does his time, he loses his business, or worst case scenario, I guess, is you just destroy his business enough to where he moves to another county. It won't be our problem. But we have to do something to clean up the drugs in the county because the future relies on our youth, our young people. And right now, the situations they're growing up in, they know a lot more about drugs and stuff now in elementary school than most of us older people knew when we were in high school. They're around it every day. They're around it with their friends, neighbors, things like that. So to fight the drug problem, besides going after the drug dealers, I also want to set up a program, or the DARE program, get it started back in schools. But I also want to help educate the youth to the dangers of drugs and even the dangers of alcohol.
My next question, which is actually question 2, this is, like I told Jason, this is a tough question, but what makes you more qualified than your opponents to be sheriff of Hickman County?
Well, I may answer this a little different than other candidates. I won't say I'm more qualified, I won't say I'm less qualified. I think all of us running for sheriff are qualified to do the job. I think all of us want to do the job and do the best job we can. If elected, I think one advantage that I have, and it may be a disadvantage too, I know they're married, they have kids at home, and family is important. Unfortunate part, I'm not married right now, I don't have kids at home. The fortunate part about that is I can spend a lot more time dealing with the issues of the sheriff's department and doing the job maybe to more time on the job, I should say. Whereas I know the other 2 gentlemen, qualified, very nice guys, I've known them, for years. They have families, and if they're elected, their families are going to suffer. And not saying that's a bad thing if they're doing the job that the sheriff needs to be doing. But I hate to see their families, their kids suffer because that time you never get back.
Thank you, Barry. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, buddy.
And again, I didn't mention this before Jason walked out, but Jason had to leave. But if y'all wanna ask these guys some tougher questions than I'm asking, hey, corner them. Put them in a corner somewhere. Ask them privately. Don't ask them out here in the middle of God and everybody where everybody can hear what you're asking. Take them outside. Say, come on, let's go for a walk.
And can I just add to that?
You sure can.
I'm always open to any questions, phone calls, texts, emails. It doesn't matter what it is. If I'm not able to respond immediately, I will respond as soon as I can. So feel free to ask me anything.
You're not gonna get your answers in a big crowd like this. I think the best answers you get from anybody running for office is you corner them. Send them an email. All of them has Facebook. That's how I got them here today, is Facebook. Send them a Facebook message and say, hey, can you come and chat? I'd like to talk to you. That's the only way. You can't just sit down with one and say, hey, I fell in love with this one. You need to hear you need to hear all four of their stories. You need to hear all four of their stories and see which one's got the best to offer. All right, we're ready for number 3. And our number 3 is going to be David Powell. Everybody meet David Powell. I know a lot of y'all sitting here don't know David. And y'all, David, you're trying to get these folks floating out here. So,
Yes, sir.
So my first question to you is, you need to let them know who you are.
All right. My name is David Powell. I've lived here in Hickman County all my life. I've grown up right over off of Piney Road, and I spent a couple of years in law enforcement at the prison, and then I moved over to Fairview Police Department where I worked for a few years, and I wound up leaving there because of bad leadership. So, I know a thing or two about bad leadership being in that. So if you also, I'm not much of a public speaker, so please pardon that too. But one of the things that I would hope to bring would be a place that officers, deputies would actually want to work, because we have a really bad problem with paying for a lot of deputies to go through the police academy and then they leave 6 months later. We gotta want to draw them in and want them to actually work for us. And we gotta keep them, because with how much it costs to actually send them to the department or to the academy and put them in FTO training and all that, that pretty much covered a officer for a year. So we gotta make sure we retain those. And other than that, questions or I'm not much of a public speaker.
All right, David, my first question to you is nearly every sheriff's election, there is one topic of discussion that arises above all others. That issue is drugs and drug-related crimes. If elected, what are your ideas or plans to combat the drug problem in Hickman County?
All right, the drug problem, the big thing about the drug problem is, like I said, I worked in the prison for a couple of years. We can't even keep drugs out of the prison and the jails. You're not going to eradicate it. The police officers and the deputies, they do a great job of actually finding and arresting the people that are selling the drugs, purchasing the drugs, and all of that. That's where making sure you elect a good judge and district attorney really plays into it. Now, I think that personally that the Hickman County Sheriff's Office over here, I think they do a great job already about finding the drugs and arresting the people. But they dropped the ball, I feel, on a lot of the other crimes, such as burglaries. How many people have been victim of having their house broke into and such, but you never get a call back. Nothing ever seems to happen, because that's always put on the back burner, because the drug issue makes for good pictures on Facebook and stuff like that. That's what they seem to concentrate on, because that's what they feel really grabs the attention. A lot of the time, say a burglary. a lot of the time, the burglary suspects are going to be those same drug users. You know, the stolen property is going to wind up at the drug dealer's house. If we actually made sure to follow up on those types of crimes also, it would have the dual effect of also clamping down on the drug problem. But, like I said, the officers and deputies out here already do a great job of picking them up. I see people complain, you know, why can't you do something about this person or that person? You know, you've got to have probable cause. You can't just arrest people for no reason. You know, so it really plays into all that. And I've known houses that people personally that, you know drugs are being sold out of, and it seems like it takes them 5 years to ever do anything. You know, sometimes they seem to move a little too slow. I just feel like, there are other avenues that they could take to make that, you know, if you can't arrest them for the drugs, hey, stolen property, let's go on and take them in on that and see what else we can do with it there.
All right, my next question is kind of a tough question for you, for all the other candidates, and it's kind of a tough question. What makes you, David, what makes you more qualified than your other opponents to be sheriff of Hickman County?
Well, I have not had as many years of experience as a couple of the other guys that are running, but I've actually, I grew up with a lot of the same things going on in my life or right outside my life, and was able to witness a lot of these things firsthand. And it also kept me from by not becoming a police officer when I was 21 years old or such. I haven't fallen into that echo chamber, because police, whenever they become police for a while, a lot of them sometimes wind up falling into an echo chamber where they think, every problem is a nail and all they can use is a hammer to fix that nail. That's why, a lot of them only concentrate on the drug problem instead of the other problems that might can also lead to helping fix that problem as well as the other problems.
All right, thank you, David. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Am I doing a good enough job for everybody, y'all think?
Very good.
Thank y'all so much. Send me number 4. He's been standing out there on the steps, poor guy. He's been standing out there on the steps for how long? 30 minutes?
2301.
He's probably ready to kill somebody right now.
She said 23.
And our last candidate will be Jonathan Aglett. He's probably talking to somebody.
I ran away.
Everybody, this is Jonathan Aglett. There again. He don't know who you are. So, Jonathan, you don't know none of these folks out here. My first question to you is meet these folks and let them know who you are.
Is this too loud? No, 3. So my name is Jonathan Aglett. I work for the Hickman County Sheriff's Office. I was born and raised here in Hickman County. I started working for the Sheriff's Office in 2004. I was assigned over to the Drug Task Force in 2011. I worked undercover narcotics for a little while. Then I went to the Criminal Interdiction Unit. I had a canine. I've been a canine handler for about 10 years, a little over 10 years. I worked interdiction until 2019. Came back to the Sheriff's Office here until present, where I'm still employed at this time. I'm the day shift patrol supervisor. I oversee about 4 or 5 other deputies. I do all the day-to-day operations as far as checking reports, going out and assisting any other agencies that need anything. I've federally indicted several people through the Sheriff's Office for narcotics use if they meet the federal criteria. I don't know, I really don't like talking about myself a whole lot. It kind of seems like a bragging session, but that is what I've done. I'm married, my wife is in here, so she's right here. I have 3 children. My oldest is 20 years old. She is in Arkansas in college. Ellie is my middle child. She works at the local place. She's at work today. Wyatt is my youngest. He's 14. He's one of the middle school soccer players. They won their district championship yesterday. And they actually did, what's it called, son? They did a shutout before a mercy rule, won 9-0 before the game was ever over. So that's me.
Jonathan, my first question is, Jonathan, nearly every sheriff election, there is one topic of discussion that arises above all others. That issue is drugs and drug-related crimes. If elected, what are your idea or plans to combat the drug problem in Hickman County?
So I actually take pride in telling you that I helped start the narcotics unit that we have at the sheriff's office now. Now, with that being said, it's currently only a 2-man unit, and we're so short-handed for employees. The guys in the narcotics unit are not able to effectively work strictly narcotics. They're backing us up on the road, helping us every day. We might run 3 people out in the entire county. In case you didn't notice, Hickman County is about 622 square miles. There's about 28,000 people in this county. The city's inside the county, so we're running bare minimum per capita. We don't have enough officers for the citizens in this county. One of the things I am going to do is we're going to up the narcotics unit. I come from a narcotics background. The gentleman that is head over heels for the narcotics unit right now has about a 30-year law enforcement experience, and he's been in narcotics for 20 years. He will be on my administration, and he is going to absolutely dominate the drugs in this county. The drug industry is a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry. I know that from my narcotics background, chasing drug cartels across the United States. You're never going to stop it. It's a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry. Let that sink in. You're never going to stop it, but we are going to effectively work on it, and those people that meet the federal criteria, we will call the AUSA, turn the evidence over to them, and we will let them go to federal prison. If you're lucky enough to make it, you serve 100% of your sentence in federal prison. There is no good behavior. There is no early release for getting out and washing clothes and doing laundry in the prison. That's what we're going to do because we're all invested in this, and we're going to do what's right. I don't do what's popular. I'm going to do what's right and what's best for the citizens of this county. As the sheriff of the county, I work for you, and you deserve service. That's the only thing I can give you, and I will give it to you.
Hi, Jonathan. I want to tell you, like I told everybody else, this is kind of a tough question. Jonathan, what makes you more qualified than the other opponents running for sheriff of Hickman County?
I'm not going to say anything negative about anybody running first and foremost. That's not what I'm about. That's not what my campaign, my platform's about. I've got 18 years of law enforcement experience here. I've been in this county the whole time, whether it was with the drug task force or not. I've got a vast knowledge of everybody here. I already know all of the roads. I know where the local problem houses are. I know where the special needs are. If we can get more officers here, we can push in those areas and make those problems better. Really and truly, one of the other things is working for a small agency is not always a bad thing. Because with just a few of you out, you learn to be a jack of all trades. You've got to deal with every type of situation, so you're involved in everything that goes on. And that's very valuable when it comes to a town like this, because we don't always have the most resources, so you have to be well versed in everything. The gentleman that's running for our district attorney, I've already had some conversations with him, ways that we can make things better, because I'm not going to sit back and wait to be elected before I make a decision on how to improve things. If we can improve them now in my role that I have now, let's do it now. Let's not wait till then. There's some big changes that are coming when we move from the 21st district to the 32nd, and we don't need to wait till then to get that started. We've got to do that right now. We can't wait. So he and I have already had some conversations. I've kind of picked his brain on some things that I would like to implement and some things I'd like to see. I'm sick of our roads looking the way they are. I want to give some of these criminals that we have some community service and make them pick up trash and make our roads look nice and clean where more people will want to come into our county. If we look more presentable, we'll draw more attention. And that's where it starts. That's all I've got.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate it. I guess the district attorney, so I didn't even know you was here until now I see you. Jonathan sent you out, so let me tell y'all again what I've mentioned while the other, sheriff candidates were in here. Remember, guys, you can't just vote for one guy. You gotta know who to vote for, and that's what we need in this county. We need the people that's gonna pick their brains. We need the people that's gonna pick our county commissioner brains. We need that in this county bad. I mean, in the past, Hickman County, we just went with the good old boy system and thought who's the good old boy, let's get him elected. You know, ask these guys, just don't ask one of them. Corner these guys, you know, ask them to come to your house. Ask them to come and do it, because I can't say who's the best for the job. You have to be the one to decide who's the best for the job. So call these guys, get them to come to your house, look them up on Facebook. Every one of them has a Facebook.